So I'm glad to be here. I'm happy first. This place keeps on shocking me. As in, I'm amazed by the transformation. Big up to Baraza Media. And I'm glad that every now and again you trust us or you ensure that we are comfortable when you're here as journalists and also content creators around this region. And I think to today's conversation, I think this session is more about storytelling. Tupige tu story. Wajalo nasema wago Mbaka. We are here from Mbaka. We share our experiences and also just how to navigate through the changing landscape in media. I joined Standard. Let me start. I graduated in 2012 in from Multimedia University. Sijui kama ni Nairobi ama ni Kajiado ama ni Rongai ama ni wapi, but yeah, I graduated from Multimedia University in 2012, and during that time, even when I was in campus, I already started writing what we call the opinions, write letters to the editor, and we used to have something called a scrapbook. Sijui kama mnajua scrapbook? Yeah. Scrapbook ni a plain ama let me start. Unajua ile drawing book ilikuwa plain paper, ile ya primary school drawing. So the scrapbook ni kubwa kidogo. So when your story appears in the newspaper the following day or days after, you cut it, inaitwa saa cutting, unaweka glue, unaweka kwa hiyo scrapbook. So unazipanga. So I used to do that nikiwa Multimedia University, and I realized that it really helped, because for you as a journalism student, for you to have your name on the newspaper, whether it's an article or just an opinion piece, it was really something. Ikitoka, I used to be very happy. So I used to put them kwa hiyo scrapbook, and trust me, this really helped me, because I got after graduating, I got an opportunity to work for. There's an upcoming newspaper called Nyanza Weekly. Nyanza Weekly was started by somebody called Shem Bakasuchi, a very veteran journalist and award-winning journalist. So Nyanza Weekly was a newspaper that was coming out every week in this particular region, covering stories from this region. So when I graduated, directly I was nilichukuliwa na Nyanza Weekly, because what I was told, ushaiandika? Sema, yes, I've written, I have some stories, and I just had my scrapbook. Akasema, wait, tuanze tu hivyo. So that is where I started from. That was around 2012, 2013. Then after that, I got an opportunity to work with an NGO called Umande Trust. Umande Trust deals with the environment stories, climate change and all that. And during my role there was they had a weekly publication. And I can't see my friend here. At that point, I know some people know Ondari Ogega. I know he's about to come in here. So Ondari, the publication was called Manyanga. I know Manyanga, millennials wanasema Manyanga ilikuwa either a bus ama dem mwenye amechanuka. So Manyanga used to be, Ma was Manyata, Nya was Nyalenda, Nga was Obunga. So it was Manyanga, covering environmental studies around these slums. So it used to come out every week. We were the writers, we were the reporters, we were the editors, we were the chief editors, and we sell it also at 20 bob. So you do everything in that particular publication. So I got an opportunity there, and then I had an opening at Standard Media Group, and I applied. And nilibeba hizi Manyanga because I used to be like na design the whole paper, like the whole paper. After Ondari was my reporter from Nyalenda. So Ondari akitoa stories za Nyalenda, wengine wanatoa stories za Ubunga nini. So we used to design it mpaka itoke yote, and then tunauza 20 bob. So when nilipigiwa na Standard, I was selling the publication Manyanga. So nikaitwa there's an editor called Evelyn Kwamboka. He was the regional editor then. So akaniambia, what have you done? Umeandika? Yeah, nimeandika, this is what you do. Akabai zote. I think there were around 12 copies. Akabai zote. And that is how I started Standard Media. That's around 2013 until 2016. And then 2016 nika join Nation Media, ikani poach, nikaenda Nation 2016 up to date. I'm telling this story because I've seen how things change. During that particular time, we used to go to the field, mnaandika story, mnabeba hiyo story, unakuja kuitype kwa ofisi ndio iende. Ani nowadays naona like in our nation media WhatsApp group, we have a WhatsApp group for alerts. Somebody ako kwa ground, ushapiga picha, video unaattach, ishaenda alert, ishaenda story, unatype story. By the time ufike kwa ofisi, hata sometimes hata ufiki. If you are in assignment in Kakamega, like me who lives wanasema sisi ni watu wa Eastlands. This side of the road ikienda huku, bypass ikienda huku, unashuka tu, your story is already up there in Nairobi. So things have really changed. I remember when we were in Standard ilikuwa not Tivoli, but Alimran Plaza. Before it moved to Swan Center, and now they're at Mega Plaza now. I remember there used to be tapes. Historia wanatuma, inaitwa we transfer zikuwa. People used to like use the tapes, hizo tape ndogo ndogo hizi. Inaekwa unaongea na mtu mwenye ana travel kwa airport. You don't know anyone, amjui anaenda wapi ama ni. Haujui kama unapatia Sifuna story ya Ruto apeleke kwa hiyo tape or vice versa. So whoever was at the airport anachukua tape, anaenda nayo. Some mtu wa NTV anangojea Wilson ama JKIA ndio hii tape, ndio wanaenda wana download hizo stuff then wana. So nowadays things have changed. And I remember, maybe if I go fast forward, I remember when the last edition we had, this thing is not all gloom. I don't think it's all gloom. Excuse me, actually today morning there was a lady who called me from CI and was telling me, ni watu media squeeze mko wapi? Nimepata hii kwa social media rakaraka, I mean game akala. There's somebody kulikuwa na maandamano hapa, ni hata hamna. Ati ndio maana squeeze watu wamewamaliza. And sijui kama alijua nakuja hii session ama nini, because I'm telling her the true story. So I was like, anasema hata squeeze tunapata Facebook nini. But I'm like, this is not the end of legacy media. Well, most of people know it as mainstream media, but they have a word that legacy media, because we'll always be there, because we're the people who came before and will still be there. I know that the last sessions was a bit heated, and what I know is there's a way to navigate through all these challenges, and of course through research and also through just experiences. Like for instance, when nation media was selling to us this digital transformation, there were many meetings. We were like, how do we focus? Because kwa tunasema our focus ni gazeti. We sell, ukiandika story unaweka mind yako kwa gazeti. Tunatoka story, unatulia, hakuna haja kubreak hiyo news, unangoja mpaka utume story, unangoja gazeti ya kesho ndio upate hiyo story. But now hiyo story yako, for instance, the latest news ni gani? I may use for instance a friend we lost. I'm saying he's a friend because he was very friendly to media. Father John Pesa. I know all of you know Father John Pesa. Now he's the late. He was buried, I think, 2 weeks ago. News here, Father Pesa was broken. I personally went to, these people that you don't believe, or they make you believe that they are immortal. Mtu anakufa mpaka unashangaa, Father Pesa anaweza kufa kweli. So I went to the mortuary, nikaona huyu ni Father Pesa. Amekufa, yes. But you can't break that news. You cannot break that news. Social media ishaenda, as in Father Pesa amekufa. But mimi nimeenda mpaka nimemuona hivi. But you can't break it. Why? Because either the church hierarchy breaks it, or the family breaks the news. Niko na church hierarchy hapa, wako wote, the top bishops wenye walikuwa nafuata Father Pesa, watu wanasema we are not talking today. Tutaongea some days later. I'm like, just say mtu amekufa, then any other communication mtu amekufa, just confirm. Walisema no. What do you do? I say, how do you navigate through? I don't know if it can be interactive ama niko tu. Can someone just tell me what would you have done? The people who are supposed to confirm are there with you, but they're saying no. And if you confirm, ukisema ukibreak your news nobody can. How do you go about it? Wapi wale nilisikia Masinde Muliro wako hapa wengi. Sasa juu Father Pesa mwa mnapita mkienda most how do you have gone about it? Do you break? Do you wait for the family? Do you wait for 3 days? How would you have gone about it? Anyone? Wewe unataka unaniangalia sana. Sijui wewe ndio jaribu. How would you have gone about it? Do you break the story before the family or the church confirms? Unamwona hapa amekufa, but do you break the story? There's a hand here. Iko on. Is it? Sorry?
I will not break this story. I will wait for the family, the church to introduce.
Okay. Kuna alternative pia. How many agencies confirm death? Ama authorities confirm death? Alikuwa JTRH, alikuwa Russia hapo morgue. What is the other alternative of confirming your death? Let me just make it. Sikuna hospital. Did you have this guy here as a patient? Bora tu sasa wasiseme cause of death. Hiyo sasa unaingia kwa inaitwa patient na nini confidentiality and all that. But they can just say yes, we have a body here for the patient. That's all. That's what you did. In short, what I'm trying to say, there are things that sometimes are being blamed, including the death of General Ogola. Ogola saa hiyo anaitwa nani? Crispian Nyakundi ama anaitwa nani? Asha break na photos na nini. Tunajua tu amekufa, yes, but family hajasema, the KDF hajasema, president hajasema. What do you do? So we have to wait. The most painful one was Raila. Tunajua tu ashaenda. Watu wanalia bondo, but before the president, the ODM party or AIDA or the family member say we cannot. So wanasema the mainstream. Ndio maana siku hizi tunasikiza the new media, which is social media. But there are some things that cannot be replaced. First, now how do we navigate through all these? In my experience, what we usually do, we have always been told better be late than sorry. For instance, better break your story late than you apologize later. So this is what we can actually do. And also, the thing that the mainstream still has is the fact-checking. We have to fact-check. The news on social media, most, not all, or sometimes some are not true. The only way we can go through it or to navigate through this is ensuring that in our media houses, we have the mandate to at least ensure that all these, we have facts. That is what will separate us from the social media. But also, we must accept that these people, the social media is a new phenomenon. So you must also adapt. Don't compete, adapt. Let us not compete. You cannot compete social media, but adapt. Nowadays, we have day 2 stories. How do you, for instance, now World Cup inachezwa usiku. Senegal lost from 2-0 down to 3-2. Kila mtu anajua, including my son, anajua. How do you do a story ya day 2 kwa gazeti? How do you do? It's now how. The things that didn't work. Maybe backroom stuff like, walinyimwa. I've heard these stories. Hakupewa shower. They denied training ground. How these maybe had affected them, blah, blah. So how do you deal with this? So day 2 stories will really help the media to navigate through these challenges. And also something that I'm forgetting, I had something here. We have revenue ads that have gone down because of the changing landscape in media. It now calls for partnership. I know that like National Media Group, we have partnership with Bill and Melinda Gates. So every health story, there are grants through that. Even the journalists that are working through writing health stories are being paid because of Bill and Melinda Gates partnered with the nation. So there's a funding through that. So media houses must now expand their options by at least getting NGOs or partners to at least bridge that gap of funding. So this will help also the media houses to survive or to at least push through. And I think something that must come out from this particular conversation is there's no competition between social media and legacy media. There's no competition. What you can do is add value to that story. If there's a budget imesoma, what do people want to hear this the next day? Budget is shared in social media and all WhatsApp groups. But what do you, so it's like, for instance, let me say, Junet donated 10 million. 10 million was donated in a certain fundraiser in Migori. So to enrich this story as a legacy media, say politicians are splashing 10 million, actually in Migori Suna East, yet there's a bridge that has been closed because it's destroyed. People cannot get on the other side. So what would have this 10 million done? How best would this particular politician utilize this 10 million instead of just pouring it out in Arambe? So these are the stories. We must enrich our stories to be set apart from the social media influencers and all that. Add value to your story for the next day. Give somebody a reason to buy that newspaper or subscribe to that particular story by paying that 60 bob. So what you must come out with today here is add value to your story so that it sets you apart from social media. Social media will break, but it cannot take away the investigative part in you. And lastly, what also cannot be set apart, we have some people who, I think I can mention one of my mentors is called John Oyua. I think he's now the chief officer in Kisumu. There are some stories they covered, these veteran journalists. For instance, they were there when Robert Ouko's body was recovered. Of course, you cannot repeat this story every year. I think the anniversary is usually on around Valentine, Feb 14th, 15th, when he died, when the body was recovered. How do you enrich this story? By taking Oyua to answer, what went through your mind when you saw the body? How are people behaving? Just a story about the journalist. So how did he behave? When the burial was there, I saw a story by Caleb Ateni, many years after Ouko's death, telling a story of how people were hostile to Moi during the funeral. That's the perspective we are telling stories through journalists' eye. So this is what we should do. But what I know is legacy media is here to stay. There's no perishing. Let's adapt. Let's stop competing. Let's see how we can fuse these particular two media so that we create something that is palatable to our audiences. I think that would be my presentation. And I know through the reactions, tutapata kujua more, and then how we get together, how we finally come up with a solution that can really bind. Asante sana.
Thank you.